Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I'm excited to share with you a first look at the 1st Guards Motostrelki Division. This is a new Soviet division available in the Magdeburg Counterstrike Nemesis DLC, which is out right now, so you can go and get your hands on it if you want. But today we're going to go through all of the units and we'll put together a quick deck. Also, just a reminder that I will be playing these two new divisions this Sunday at 8 PM on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/VulcanHDGaming or on my VulcanHDGaming live YouTube channel. That is 8 PM GMT. But let's get into it. The Gaz 66 with the 600 supply, 10 on a card for 25 points. We've got the Ural, classic Ural, 40 points, 6 on a card, 1000 supply per truck. Then we have the Belazor, which is your little UAZ leader. 100 km/h off-road speed is alright. Of course, it only has 4 health. It's going to die pretty quick, but it is fast for 80 points. 3 on a card as well, which is nice availability. Better than that, you do have the Taika, which actually has some armor. It's also equally as fast on road, and it has more health, so it's probably going to be your choice in most cases. And there's also the BMP-2K, if you want something with a bit of firepower. 30mm, Conkers, PKT. Unfortunately, the BMP2 got nerfed a little while back, and the autocannon, rate of fire, is really trash. So I'm not as much of a fan of it as I was before. But yep, either way, 95 points. It's all right. It's got smoke as well, which is handy if you get caught out. And then there's the option of the supply hub. Moving on to the infantry tab, there is the PKM and the grenade launcher. Grenade launchers took a little bit of a nerf this patch, so just bear that in mind. Then we have the military police. They do have the military police UAZ. Both of these give the military police trait. So if you have extra transport with military police, it can be handy to follow your tanks, because military police trait increases the suppression regeneration bonus of nearby units. Then we have the Motostrelki leader. So this is a 4-man squad with AK-74s, the SPD, the RPG-22, and a smoke grenade. Nice combination, AT and smoke. Can be brought in with the BTR, BMP-1, the BMP-1 with the Fago, and the BMP-2 with the Conkers. So BMP-2 is probably going to be the nicest transport to bring in there, of course. There's also the UAZ, of course, as well. Then we got the RPG-22 Motostrelki. So nice fast firing, 15 penetration AT weapon. And these guys only come in with the BMP2. So decent combination if you start to upbet them. Then we have the Motostrelki with the RPG-7VS. This is technically a new unit. You have a RPG with 16 penetration at 675 in a range of 55% accuracy, which is pretty good. Can be brought in with the BMP-1, both variants, as well as the Gaz. And then there's the Motostrelki BMP, which get the RPG-7VL, which has the 18 penetration as opposed to the 16 penetration. And those can also be brought in with BMP-1s. Then we got Motostrelki with the RPG-7VR, which is 20 penetration, 55% accuracy. I'm not putting out the other guns because they're basically all the same. These guys are slightly bigger as a squad because they come in with the BTR 60 instead of the BMP, so you get one more man. You've also got the Motostrelki Metis here, which has that 1,250 meter range with 17 penetration, 60% accuracy. Even though the penetration on this weapon is red in number, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty nasty a weapon for sure. Then we have the Reservisti. So we've got the Reservisti leader, which is an 8 strength leader with an RPG-7. No smoke though, unfortunately. Can be brought in with a 20-point BTR, which has a Dushka on it, which is kind of nice. The Gaz there is also an option. And then we've got Reservisti, so 8-man squad, 7 AKs, RPK-74, RPG-7PM, 35 points. Again, can be brought in with a BTR 60 for 20 points with a machine gun on it. So that's a nice armored option for spam-alamming these poor reservists. Then we got reservists with an SVD and an RPG 22 instead of the RPG 7VM, so that's not too bad. And then there's the Polomachiki. Can be brought in with the BMP 1s or the BMP 2. Then we got the Sapari Komroti, 4-man squad, no smoke, kind of sucks. But RPG 7VL is their weapon. Then we got the Sapari, 8 strength. They have the Gaz as their transport. Just your standard satchel charge, shock trait, infantry. And then we got the Sapari RPO in there as well, which is actually kind of nice. You got the RPO-A incendiary launcher on an 8-man squad. It's pretty good. Then we got the SPG-9, which can be useful for kind of spreading around. They can also be brought in with the cheap transport, so that's kind of a nice combination, maybe even better than the KPVT there. Then we got the VulcanHDGem and the Conkers as well. So both of these decent HDGems, especially for their price. That's the big thing that makes them worth it. All right, moving on to the artillery tab. We've got the 120mm mortar, which can be brought in with the Gaz or the MTLB. We got the Gvozdika and also the Akataya. Both of these we've seen plenty of times before. They're in many different divisions, as well as the BM21 Grad, which is your 120mm, 122mm more specifically, HE rocket launcher. Then we have the tank tab. So starting off with the BRDM2 Conkers, 20 penetration, 2,625 meter range. The nice thing about the BRDM though is it does get good stealth, so it will not get spotted generally before it fires. Then we have the MT12 Arpiera, which has the Bastion HDGM, which has 18 penetration at 2,800 meter range with 60% accuracy. These can be quite obnoxious actually, and they also have a reasonable rate of fire for an AT gun at close range with 16 penetration at 2,100 meter range. So for 80 points, you can get value out of these until people start slamming them with artillery. Then we've got the Sturm. So the MTLB is making a return with the Sturm S launcher. So it's a Cocon with 20 penetration at 2,800 meter range. It's already available in the 39th, as you can see. But it's interesting that we get 2 cards of them here that we can bring. There's also the Sturm with the Attacker instead of the Cocon, which gets an extra 5 penetration and the tandem ability for 100 points. So really strong HGM that we can make use of in this division. There's also the MT12R, which is an upgrade of the Rapera. So we have the Ruta. The difference here, as you might notice, is that it's got like a radar system on it, which I guess allows it to track further targets. So its main gun is what benefits. So the HGM is still the same, but you get the extra range on the main gun. So an extra 175 meter range and also an extra 20% accuracy. That is pretty huge. Then we've got the T72K. This is your standard T72 basically, just the leader variant. So 15 front armor, 19 penetration, 1,925 meter range, 55% accuracy. Like range and accuracy a bit mediocre, but the penetration is actually really quite high for a 130 point unit, and 15 front armor is decent as well. So if you can get these into those sort of knife fight close range engagements, you will get good value out of these T72s for sure. And then there's the T72 OBR 77, which gets a little bit of an armor upgrade by the looks of things. The biggest thing you got to worry about with T72s is their lack of smoke. They don't have smoke canisters on them, so yeah, that does get them wrecked by HGMs quite frequently. But yeah, 17 front armor is still pretty juicy. Then we have the T72AV, which is plastered with explosive reactive armor, which gives it that extra 1 health. So 17 front armor, 19 penetration on the main gun still, but at 2,100 meter range. So you've got a lot more range scaling to work with there, which is nice. You've also got a bit of extra side armor. So it goes from 5 to 7 side armor as well, which is definitely helpful for those situations where you might get caught out. So yeah, actually a pretty decent T-72 there. Recon tab. We got another of these interesting recon vehicles. I really like that they add these to the game. They're not going to be like terribly useful in a lot of situations, but the flavor is really cool. Like, it's just vehicles you wouldn't normally see. So in this case, the Arthur 330 Taran, it is a SIGINT unit. So SIGINT, the way it works, you have like 2 circles, and if there's a unit in the circle is highlighted. Like an enemy unit, even if you can't see them. So that's pretty cool as a mechanic, and it can be useful on certain maps where there's like big flanks. That's generally how I see it used most of the time. But yeah, interesting unit. BRDM 2, reasonable recon unit. I mean, these catch me out all the time in the campaign when the AI is using them, but yeah. Sometimes you don't really have space for them in the Recon tab. 35 points, gets the KPPT, decent speed. Yeah. Razvedka. Standard 4-man Razvedka squad with the RPG-20, only comes in the UAZ, so nothing special going on there. Then we got the Razvedka Sapri, which is a reasonably good shock infantry recon. So that's okay. And then we got the Motostrelki as well there with the RPG-22, which is handy. They also have the IFV trait if they're using, or nearby, I guess, another BMP or something, but otherwise they're not going to be able to use it with the BTR because that doesn't actually get the IFV trait. But it does get recon, so yeah, good optics on a BTR, can't complain. MI2, MI8, and there's also the option of the MI8T with rockets, so that's kind of another choice there. And we got the BRM-1K, always been a solid, exceptional optic recon unit to accompany your tanks. Don't expect it to hide too well, but otherwise it will spot things for you. And then we got the Mi-14 PS, which is exceptional optics helicopter. I was kind of hoping that this would have some sort of extra trait added to it, but yeah, it's just a standard exceptional optic recon. And then we got the Perro, which is a UAV, so decently fast. I guess 500 kilometers per hour isn't actually that fast. But yeah, spots things on the ground for you. Interesting. And we got AA, so Strela 3. Bit of a trash man pad with 4 HE and like really bad accuracy, especially considering these guys are reservist. And then we got the standard Eagle, which is much more like it with the 2,650 meter range, 50% accuracy. I still only 4 HE, unfortunately, but it's okay, because most helicopters only have like 8 health now anyway. And then we got Su-23 with the twin 23mm autocannon. There's also the Borussia. It's really useful for finishing off aircraft, especially since our main AA is going to be the Oster AKM. So the Oster AKM only does 7 damage, so then the Borussia can kind of finish it off if it's nearby. It's got a reasonable range against helicopters and aircraft. We got the Strela 10M in there as well. The thing I always liked about the Strela 10M system is it is accurate on the move. So it's pretty handy because of that, especially when you're like trying to push forwards with a bunch of tanks or something. Yeah, the Oster AKM is going to be a long-range AA, 3,875 meter range with 7 HE missile and 55% accuracy. Just bear in mind that it is radar, so that it will get killed by seed if you leave it turned on. Moving on to the helicopter tab, we have the Mi-8MT with its big rocket loadout, loads of 57mm rockets. That's going to chew up infantry nicely. Then we got the Mi-24V with Cocon missiles, which is actually really nice, and S-13s. This thing's going to chew tanks. Really, really nice loadout, actually, for 155 points. We got the Cocons with the S-80s as well. So if you want more of like an infantry focused loadout, you go for the Rocket 2 variant. And if you go for the normal one with the S-13s, you're going to be able to do a bit more damage to vehicles with those. Then we have the Mi-24P with the Attacker. So get the Attacker HGM instead, which is really nice. It's 2,800 meter range like the Cocon, but you get an extra 5 penetration, which is huge. And the aim time is way less as well. So that's actually a pretty scary Mi-24. And you also have the rockets if you're getting closer. And then there is also the option just to go for the 8 attackers. So this is, again, a very nasty helicopter. And the fact that like Mi-24s get the armor as well, this one even has like 10% ECM. Yeah, it's going to be hard to kill. It's going to be hard to kill. It's going to be quite annoying, for sure. Really solid helicopter. And moving on to the air tab. MiG-21 SMT. 2 R3Rs and then 2 R13M1s. Both have 5 HE, but one's slightly more like longer range with the semi-active radar, and then one is fire and forget. So the one fire and forget is a bit more accurate. It can also target helicopters. The other one's primarily anti-aircraft. Then we got the Su-17 with S-13 rockets. I think the 1v1 players will like this one. 30% ECM. Unfortunately, rocket planes kind of suffer in 3v3, 4v4, and 10v10 because there's just so much AA. So as you're diving to kill things, you're just going to get shot down almost every time. But there is a cluster, Su-17, which is really nice. Get 6 of those big RBK 500s. Not much is surviving that cluster run, but it is 275 points. There's also one with 6 HE bombs, which are 500 kilograms as well. So another nice bomber. And you've also got the option of the ODABs as well. So these are like thermobaric. They're going to slap infantry. Really nice loadouts for those Su-17s, but quite expensive. And we got the Yak. Look at this thing, that's crazy. Electronic Warfare, Yak 28. Very nice. 1,000 km/h speed. It's got exceptional air optics, 60% ECM. Yeah. Kind of crazy electronic warfare plane. And then there's also the MiG-25 PD available, which comes with 2 sets of R40RDs. Actually, sorry, one's an R40RD1, one's an R40TD1. So one's fire and forget, one's semi-active. But they're both 8 HE, they have the same range, and the semi-active one has 5% more accuracy. Interesting. 10% ECM, super fast. The range on these is going to get them caught out occasionally, I think. But it is only 210 points, so I would say it's actually pretty reasonably priced. Okay, let's head back to the logistics tab and we'll throw together a quick deck. I think we'll just go with the Chikers. I don't know if I'm going to add too much into the tank tab, and the tank tab's pretty big. It's probably best if we go and chuck like Urals into here with the supply, because we're going to use rocket artillery for sure. Then in the infantry tab, this is a tough one. I feel like we bring HGMs, probably just in their cheap transports, and those we can kind of spam everywhere. We can put SPG-9s in there as well. I'm definitely bringing in those Sapati RPO. Pudamachiki in BMP2s is a nice choice. I would definitely bring in like standard Motostrelki, DTRs, and then Motostrelki Metis. I think that will do. I don't know if I want any of these other Motostrelki, maybe the ones with more BMP2s if I want them. But not a big fan of BMP2s at the moment, as I already mentioned. I definitely double grad Akitsaya. Maybe put smoke in from the mortars if I can, but that'll do. We'll definitely bring in the new Sturm. I would like to try the new AT gun as well. I will bring in the normal Sturms. I think they're just really useful. Then we can do T-72 AV with T-72 leaders. And might as well bring in the one with a bit of extra armor. Alright, Recon. I think Motostrelki with the Mi-8Ts is going to be kind of useful, because I can then have rocket helicopters as well as HGM helicopters. I will bring in the BRM-1. We'll definitely just bring in some cheap Recon with the Rozvedka. I could also just use BRDMs. The Taran could be fun to use. We definitely want this helicopter though. Do we want the UAV? No, not at the moment. Alright, Osa's definitely going in. We'll do Barusa, Igla. I think that's the way we're going to play it. And then helicopters, we definitely want this helicopter and this helicopter. Then air tab, going to be a little bit over. Let me just check this out. So this tab maybe not 2 cards of Sturm S. This tab, I don't know if I need that second card of 80. Maybe. I think probably we do. I like how many different units there are. Let's just like unbet those so we gain a bit of extra points there. Then I can bring the second Mi-24P and we can fill out this air tab. We'll definitely bring in the air. Might as well bring in the the Yak 28. And then I guess cluster HE. Probably the best all-rounder. This thing is cool. It doesn't actually have much purpose in this deck, I don't think. But I'm going to use it because, yeah, why not? Alright, first Guards Motostrelki. There it is. I would say this deck's going to kind of struggle against allied heavy armor, even with all the HGMs, just because these vehicles are not going to be that resilient. Like in an open ground map, like Rift, for example, those HGMs are going to be really, really decent. But in any sort of closer range map, what's going to happen is the HGM will get spotted before it fires in most cases and then just get banged. I mean, the Router is okay because it's got good stealth, but it's not very mobile. This is mobile, but it doesn't have good stealth. So these are going to get killed pretty quick at close range. I guess in that case, like you do have the T-72s for the close range engagement. You could kind of like swap out some of these 80 weapons for T-72s and kind of just spam through the close range. Maybe that's the way that this deck is supposed to be made. It's like mass T-72 push through close range engagements whilst your attackers and your other weapons hold you at range. I might set it up like that myself. Bring in some extra T-72s there. Interesting. Yeah, it'll be fun to try that out anyway. I think, generally speaking, as I said, it's going to be probably more of a T-72 spam deck with long-range AT support. But it will be fun regardless. And you can like lay waste to everything before with the grads. So that's nice. Yeah, I like it. I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.